I'd like to call to order the Middlesex County Board of Supervisors meeting December 2nd at 3 o'clock to order. And with that, Mr. Williams, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we come once again, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Father, once again, you have led us to this place safely. Father, we'd like to thank you for the things that you do and the things that you're going to do. Father, come in our hearts that, once again, that we can do the things that is pleasing to you and pleasing to others, Father, that in some way we can show your goodness and your kindness and your love. In Jesus' name we all do pray. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Hammond, would you lead us in a prayer, please? Pledge.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hammond, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams.
Present.
Mr. Bill Harris.
Here.
Mr. Crittenden.
Here.
Mr. Jesse.
Here.
Mr. Don Harris.
Here. Wonderful, thank you. All right. I'd like to welcome the public and everybody that's here today. Also, we have a pretty full agenda, so we will take ample time to review and discuss everything we need to review and discuss. But I'm going to keep everybody on task because we do have a closed session that's going to require some discussion as well. All righty. All right, meeting agenda is posted and ready to go. We would need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse. Thank you, sir.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further discussion, or are there any additions or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call on the motion to accept the consent agenda, please.
Mr. Bill Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden.
Yes.
Mr. Jesse.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion to approve the consent agenda is approved. I'll now open the floor for any public comments. Anybody wishing to speak? Do you have anybody on a list?
I have not received any submissions for public comment.
Thank you. Anybody want to speak that's not already on the agenda? Seeing none, hearing none, I will close the public comment section. Constitutional officers, item number 3 on your agenda. Treasurer report only, pages 55 and 50 through 59. Any questions by anybody on that? Seeing none, hearing none. Item B, Commissioner of Revenue, report only. Any questions on that? No? Seeing none? Would you like to speak? I mean, you don't have to if you'd like to.
I could give her a little bit of delay while she's getting to the podium if she wants to come. She
Okay.
literally broke her leg getting the tax bills out. And
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, May.
Bills are out. Bills are due on the 5th, so we're in the thick of that. And if anybody has any questions, I'm here.
Any concerns on your part?
No. Everyone's doing their due diligence, and we're getting the taxpayers taken care of, so.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. You know, kicking trash cans and chairs ain't a good thing to do.
No, it doesn't do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Okay, moving right along. Item number 4, agency and staff reports. VDOT, we now have not only the report, but we have Mr. McKnight that is gracing us with their presence. Yes, sir.
I'm here to give a quick update and just some items that I did want to brief the board on really quickly. We are getting into snow season, as everyone's aware. We're ready to go. We actually had a little bit of a we're on the same page with that one. So hopefully we don't need to respond, but we are ready if needed. So we have our contractors lined up and we're ready to go. I did want to mention a couple projects that are coming up in the near future. The bridge project of the Dragon Run Bridge replacement on 17 at the county line. That is set to begin in early of 2026, and they're anticipating the completion of that project by December of 2027. That's the ADT of that road, if you're wondering, is about 12,000 vehicles per day. And they are increasing the width of that bridge from 23 feet approximately to about 40 feet. And they are raising the bridge to match the current grade of the other bridge, about 10 feet. There were 8 bridge impacts in the last 3 years on the original bridge. So this will be a much-needed improvement of that crossing there. Another item that...
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Brief question.
Sure.
Does that entail any closing of the road while that construction is going on?
The northbound road, lanes will be closed. Traffic will be switched onto the southbound. They'll be concurrent on the southbound side of the bridge. So you will have one-lane traffic through that section while the construction of the northbound bridge is under.
And is that managed by a stop-and-go light, or is that going to be individuals taking care of that?
No, it'll be channelized. So you'll have free flow southbound one lane over the new bridge and free flow northbound on the same bridge, but in the other lane.
Gotcha.
So that there will not be any impacts to, no signals or any temporary signals. It'll just be one lane as opposed to two, which you're normally accustomed to on 17 in that location.
Continue, sir.
There were some questions about the signal and the flashing yellow light at Harmony Grove intersection. I did want to address that. They did do another analysis and have removed the flashing yellow from the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. based on the data. So it is a protected left turn going towards the Norris Bridge now from those hours. So that signal has been adjusted and modified. We're going to keep an eye on that, and if further adjustments or modifications need to happen, those will happen quickly. But
I really appreciate your attention to that. I think y'all got on
Yes,
that right away.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
yes, sir.
And how about the stoplight at St. Clair Walker Middle School? Has that been looked at? Or is that on the same delayed signal as the one at Harmony Grove?
In terms of the flashing yellow,
Yes.
I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that. I know
Maybe we
we've
could
looked
look
at-
into that and maybe have that on a concurrent type schedule.
Right. I know we've had issues in the past where it being red too long. I think Mr. Walker has asked me to look at that signal, but I'll dig into that.
Yeah, just put it on your checklist to
Okay.
check it out for us, if you would, please.
Sure.
Something flashing yellow from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, or 6 a.m. or
Might be
something
something to
like
look at.
that. Yeah.
I know there've been a couple accidents there, people running that light and hitting people. Continue on, Mr. McKnight.
The only other item I did want to address, and I'm sure there's going to be some questions, I've received a couple questions about the proposed roundabout on Route 3 at Stampers Bay Road. Just a quick synopsis, that was applied for by the county in 2022 through the Smart Scale program. It has an estimate of about $6.95 million. PE has begun on that project. The design public hearing is to be scheduled. We're not quite there yet. They have to have some design before they can schedule that public hearing. but that will be coming shortly, so.
And where will that public hearing take place? In here?
It will, that's a good question. We'll work with the county administrator to determine the best possible. Typically, we try to find a location close to the site that can house that amount of people. I don't know of anywhere off the top. Maybe the firehouse at Hartfield.
Okay.
Or, yeah. Yeah, that has not been determined yet, but it will likely be, we'll try to keep it as close to the location as
Do you
possible.
have an estimated time frame of when that may occur?
The public hearing?
Yes.
I do not know it really depends on the design. It should be in the next year, though.
Okay.
Next few months here.
I take it that's going, y'all have to acquire some property probably? That's going to be a pretty good sized roundabout, isn't it?
Again, it's in design, so it really depends on where they put it. And obviously, anytime you're doing projects like this, you're trying to limit that impact as much as possible. But that will be part, they'll probably present a couple different options, and based on the public feedback in the county and us, we can decide which one's the best option for that location.
Continue, sir.
That's really all I had, Mr. Harris, unless you have some more questions for me.
No, sir. Thank you very much for being here today. It just clears up things when you're here. I know sometimes we don't necessarily need you, but we're always glad to see you.
Always happy to come.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. Item 4B, school matters. It looks like there's two budget supplements. I'd ask the school representatives to be here. Dr. Sykes.
Yes,
Mary?
sir. So I will give you an overview of the first one. You'll find that on pages 63 and 64. And so these are items that have been additionally appropriated either through federal funds or state funds, grant funds. The first two are some leftover funding that came in for Title II and Title III. And then the next two, the CTE grant and state payment piece. It's the actual number that we just received from the state for CTE funding. The next two are grants. One of them is the school security grant. We apply for that each year. And then the last one is a supplemental. iTeach is a program that we use that's been approved by the Department of Ed to quicken teacher licensure for those who already have a bachelor's degree. And there was some grant funding that we were able to use for some of our teachers to use that program. So that's the first budget supplement.
You know I'm going to ask a question.
Of course.
Just explain the school security grant in that amount. What particularly is in that?
Sure. So there's a little bit of it that's left over from '24. Am I right about that, Karen? And then we apply every year. We typically don't get everything that we apply for because we apply for the max. What we'll be using it for this year are access control phones at the high school and the elementary school, stocking additional door lock hardware because all of our doors in all of our schools, interior and exterior, have the fob locks that can be disabled and enabled immediately by us, and additional cameras at all three schools.
Okay. Additional from what we already have
Yes,
as a need.
correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wonderful. That wasn't too bad. A motion would be in order to approve FY 2026-06.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse. Thank you, sir.
Second.
And second by Mr. Bill Harris. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Jesse,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion's approved. Thank you. Continue on, Dr. Sykes.
All right, and then you have on pages 65 and 66, We are making some adjustments to our FY '26 budget, and that is based on what we are projecting as our current student enrollment, which is a little bit different than what we based our budget on, so that we don't have any surprises in the year. And so all of these revenue items that you see here listed on the front page are adjustments to state-funded line items that are driven by our average daily membership.
Wonderful. I only have one question. Under the category Fund 4-071, DW Purchase Services, what is that all about?
Yes, so that's on the expense side, and what we're doing is that because we are projecting that our state funding will be reduced based on our enrollment, we've made adjustments there and moved, we have a couple of instructional positions that we have not hired this year, moving over to that category in order to fund what we see as some of the reductions we will receive from the state.
Wonderful. Any further questions to Dr. Sight?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about the same thing. It seemed that purchase services was a huge ticket item on what we just approved at $90,000, and now this one here is purchase services at $161,000. It just seems like a,
Which one's the 90,000?
well, it's expense.
Oh,
So
on
it's
the-
expense of the one we're getting ready to look at
Right.
approving now.
So, yep, couple of different categories. So on the first one, that has to do with the, moving over to cover the local match for the security grant. And so what we've done here is, it's moving money that was in the category of a couple of teaching positions that we have not been able to hire for this year, recognizing that our state funding is going to be less than what we projected our budget to be, less than what we projected the state funding to be. So it's just a movement in that area.
I think it's just probably just my ignorance. It just seems like we're moving around $250,000 and we're just saying purchase services. It just seems kind of like a broad description of moving that kind of money, that's all. It just-
coming from, it's an instruction, it's an instructional line item.
Thank you.
I just got one question. When you say you didn't have two teachers, positions y'all full, and that's the money y'all moved around?
Yes, we are receiving less state money than we projected also. So just moving it into the correct category where we will be using it.
And how much of the money is state funding? Is it 100%?
This money here, that on this page, it's all state money, yes.
Okay.
I have one other question, because it seems to move around a little bit. When is the state going to confirm what their budget's going to be or not be? Or is that still like it's been in the past, we're not quite sure until we're sure?
For the current fiscal year, they've made that decision. Are you talking about for 26, 27?
Yes.
So the budget, the governor releases budget, I'm here on the 17th, Karen said it has to be released by the 20th. What I've been told on the superintendent side is on December 17th, the governor would release his biennial budget. Recognizing, of course, General Assembly will have budget proposals, and then at that point, a new governor will be in place. This is the long session, and so it doesn't end until, I think, March 14th. I guess we could be hopeful that when it ends, given there's lots of new people in place, that we would have a budget, but I think we'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately.
Okay. Ms. Murray, you have anything you'd like to add to any of the conversation? No, sir. Thank you both, ladies. We would need a motion to approve FY 2026-07.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Crittenden. Thank you, sir. And I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jesse. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, motion's approved. Thank you, ladies, for being here today.
Thank you.
Oh, not yet, never mind. I was going to introduce our guest, but not yet.
Don't get ahead.
Sorry.
All right. Social Services, reports on page
67.
67, 68. You guys can read that at your leisure if you haven't already. Okay, we're going to move right along to item D. Mr. Cardy?
Well, actually, at this point. Excuse me, at this point, we were going to ask, I'm right here, right, that we were going to ask if we could move the audit presentation and acceptance from Robinson, Farmer, and Cox by our Auditor Jay to see if he could be moved up to this point, since he is a visitor from out of town.
Okay. Is everybody okay with making that move?
Thank you.
All right.
At this point, I'd like to introduce Jay. He is our auditor from Robinson, Farmer, and Cox.
Good afternoon. I appreciate that as the weather is getting a little bad today. I am Jay. I'm the partner in charge of the county's audit. You should have the audit report with you, and hopefully you have my notes as well. I go a little bit quickly, so I like to have the board have my notes, and you can stop and ask me any questions at any time. I guess we will get the notes now. Okay, I'm sorry. At any point when I go through my presentation, you can stop and ask a question, or you can wait till the end and ask a question then, or if you would like afterwards, members of the county have my email address. You can shoot me an email or give me a call at any time. I'm going to start on page 1 of the audit report. We are giving the county what's called an unmodified opinion. That's the best opinion we can give on these financial statements. It's stating that these financial statements are materially correct and they can be relied upon. I do want to talk about in a little bit about a restatement that's in that financial statement, or in the audit report, the opinion, excuse me, regarding what's called GASB 101. There's been some changes by governing standards about how leave liability is supposed to be calculated, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Next page is page 12, Exhibit 1. This is the financial statements for the county on a full accrual basis. I usually tell boards and citizens not to look too much into these exhibits 1 and 2, simply for the fact that the state makes adjustments for VRS and OPEB that really the boards have no control over, the county has no control over. However, you do have to show these reports. And again, Exhibit 1, which is the balance sheet on that full accrual basis, again, it shows the adjustments made by the state, but it does show net position, or really what you would call it equity in a business, for government activities to be about $26 million, which is an increase of almost $3 million for the year. The next page, page 14, is Exhibit 2. This is, again, is that income statement on a full accrual basis, again, with those adjustments made by the state, and does show a gain of about $3 million for the year. Page 15, which is Exhibit 3, and this is where we kind of get more into things that the board and the county has control over. This is the balance sheet, and this is on this modified accrual basis without those adjustments made by the state. The fund balance at the end of the year was about $20.6 million. That's compared to $19.3 million at the prior year, so it's an increase of about $1.3 million. And your unassigned fund balance is about $20.3 million, up from $18.5 million prior year. Your cash and your investments at the end of the year was about $20.1 million, up about $19.5 million from the prior year. Exhibits, page 17, which is Exhibit 5. This is the county's income statement on that modified accrual basis. And this shows that the county's revenue was about $38.3 million, which is up about $4.5 million from the prior year. And expenditures were about $43.5 million, which is up from about $36.2 million in the prior year. I won't go into it too much at all, really, but pages 19, 20, and 21 are the financial statements of the airport. I'd just like for the board to see those. And then I'll kind of start talking about the notes. Page 42 starts our notes for the long-term debt. I think this is always good for the board and the citizens to look at, about what the debt the county has and when it's due. So there's about $14.4 million in long-term debt associated with the county, and about $6.3 million of long-term debt that's associated with the school board. And pages 43 and 44 shows the timing of these debt payments through the year 2055. And page 46 shows the debt that's owed by the Water Authority and the amounts that are due through 2058. Page 93, this is where I'm going to talk real quickly about the restatement of the beginning balances. Again, this is a new GASB statement, a Government Accounting Standards Board Statement 101, which talks about compensated absences. Essentially, where it used to be that each locality pretty much had the debt of their liability for compensated absences based upon whatever their policy was. So the policy, let's say you can only get paid out 10 days when you leave. Let's say a locality had that, but another locality said you get paid out 25 days when you leave. Well, this new accounting standard just says whatever everybody has at the end of the year, that's your liability, whether they get paid out that or not, just so that I think people looking at bonds can be able to compare Middlesex County in Virginia to Middlesex County in New Jersey, you know, just so that everybody's on the same page now. So by stating that, the beginning net position was restated for the government activities of about $440,000, and for the school board about almost $2 million, just because how the school board does leave compared to the county. Exhibit 32, this is page 116. I just like showing the board. Again, I'm not presenting to the school board, but this is the school board's balance sheet. And the next page, page 33, or exhibit 33, is the school board's income statement. I usually like to tell the board what their contribution was from the county, and for this fiscal year was $12.1 million, pretty much the same from the prior year. Page 128, the start schedule 1. I think these are the most important schedules, schedules 1 and 2, not only for the board, but for the citizens. This is your income and your expenses compared to your budget, so I'd like to say how well you did. And if you go to page 130, it's kind of the bottom line of the county's budget compared to their what they actually receive for revenue. You had budgeted for almost $35 million, and you received about $38.3 million. And then starting on page 134, this is the Schedule 2, the budget of your actual expenses compared to your budget. If you go to page 137 at the bottom, kind of talks about how well the county did. And the county had budgeted for $43.4 million, and you spent pretty much almost right on. I think those numbers in my notes are a little bit off. But actually, when I was writing the notes, I was very impressed. Usually most localities do not get that close that you all did, especially on your expenditure. So that was a very good job by the board.
Well, I'm sorry, Jay, can you say that again?
One thing you'll look at real quickly, it kind of jumps out at you on that page 137. It does show that boat ramp expenditures was about $2 million, and the budget was about $400,000. However, if you look at everything, the total capital budgets, you were only over about $175,000 on almost $9 million. So that's pretty good. Let's see where I'm at. Yes, sir.
Page 130. 130. When you said the county revenues, budget revenues was 34 million, and the county received 38 million. Are we talking about exact figures that the money that we budgeted versus the money that we received is $4 million difference?
That would be correct, but that would be on. If you saw
What's the interpretation of it? I'm seeing a lot of numbers here that looks real good, but it's none of them being interpreted. You know, you get so much money in, you spend so much, you got some left over. And the way you got this report, I think I told you last time, you need a scientist got to figure out exactly what you're talking about.
Well, let's on page 130, the final budget was just under 35 million, and we're looking at the total general fund. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go down to total primary government. Excuse me. Still 35 million, which is right near the bottom, right before it starts about the school board. And you all received 38.3 million. So you had 3.3 million received over your budget. Now, a lot of that, as you can see right there, that line right above it, is that grant from the Port Authority. That's a lot of it. But still more.
A lot of the money is grant money that's you you moving over to make the numbers look good, you're saying?
No, this was grant money, grant money.
Okay, we have separated them, right, good grant and actual. You know, actual revenue, you know, is good to know actual what we taking up.
So
And
you.
actual what we're spending, because, you know, from the way I'm looking at it, you know, you talking about, got the tax guy come up here in a few minutes, and we talking about increase in taxes or decrease and all that stuff, and we doing it by word. I don't think none of us know exactly what's going on. So I just like for a little bit more clarity.
Sure. So if you like to go over to page 128, that very top line talks about your general property taxes. You had budgeted 22.2 million, you received 22.6 million. If you go down a little bit further down, there's these other local taxes. These are things like sales tax, business license tax, those kind of things. You budgeted $4,045,000 and you received $4,121,000. So those taxes, you're pretty much straight in line with what your budget. You did receive a little bit more on your total property, your general property tax in FY25 than you budgeted for, but most of that was in that the real and personal property, the public service corporation taxes. If you can see there, that's $772,000 more than you budgeted for. But the other line items, the property taxes, you were about $231,000 under what you budgeted for, as well as the personal property taxes was about $200,000 under what you budgeted for. So that's your tax side. You know, this whole schedule includes federal money, state money, other grants, service money that you may receive. So the number that I was talking about, we showed on 130, shows all these other numbers that come into play. And like I said, if you look at that page on 130, your biggest adjustment was that Port Authority grant, which wasn't budgeted for, and you received about $2 million for. So outside of that, you're pretty much right in line with your budget for the revenue. Does that answer your question? Does that help, maybe?
Sort of, it helped a little bit. but
Okay.
I just like keep stuff simplified and say you understand something you really don't.
I
And I understand numbers pretty good, you know, so when I
Right.
say simplified, I'm gonna let you know very clearly, I'm not doing this thing for me, because I feel, so a whole lot of us don't understand they're saying it's okay. And yes, I'm looking at a whole lot more now, so, let me see how it
I wish
goes.
this report wasn't 200 pages and was
Detail.
100. But, yeah. The last thing, before I take any more questions, usually I come up here and I give what's called the CFA report, the schedule of federal awards. However, there's a thing called the compliance report. And the compliance report wasn't released when it's usually released in June. It wasn't released, and then we had the shutdown. It finally was released last week, but not in time for me to include that into the report. I will say that the report, we don't have any findings for the federal programs that we audited. I'll just let you know that. But it cannot be released with this report because that OMB compliance report didn't come out in time for me to include this in here. So we will issue it at a later date. It's not a requirement for me to come to the board and to provide that report. It's just this audit report's the only one that's required.
And we'll make sure the board gets that memo.
Yes. I will say, before any other questions, I'm the auditor and the partner in charge of about 11 localities throughout the state. And usually, Middlesex is near the middle of that when it comes to financial health. I will say I've written all 11 reports this year, and I will say Middlesex is near the top now. I think there has been a lot of improvement financially at this county in the last. I've been doing this audit off and on for the last 8 years. And I've been the partner in charge for the last 3 years, and this is the best that I've seen the county's done. Any questions?
Questions?
Yes, sir.
I gotta go, well, what I have to say is, I guess Middlesex County in pretty good shape, right, financially?
Yes, I would say so. And again, I spent the last 3 weeks writing reports, and you guys are looking a lot better than some of the other reports I've been writing.
Well, thank you on that.
Tap on the question that Jesse said, and you said Middlesex is in pretty good shape financially.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying if we want something, we just go out and buy it?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I interpret that to mean that the financial staff, including the chief executive officer need a double raise.
Now, what I'm saying is real, not going off. I'm saying if we're in financially good shape, if we want something, then we go and buy it.
I would say,
In other words, if we needed $70 million for a school, then it shouldn't be a whole lot of, headache. We just should go ahead and do it. We won't have increased taxes by 25%.
I don't
I'm
have the
just
answer
throwing
for
that question. You don't need to answer that because it's going to be hard for you to have $75 million on that answer, see.
I will say that other localities that have audit are in much more debt burden than this locality.
Okay, that's a fair answer.
Wonderful.
You got increased taxes.
Thanks for that. I might just make a couple comments. Of course, it keeps you off the hot seat, although the county, according to you, is in pretty good financial position. We've looked at that very hard and what we need to do and how that affects taxes. And, but I would like to get this report earlier, if I could, in the future.
Which report are we discussing?
I'm talking about both of them. Other than seeing this today, that's the first time I've seen it.
I will say, that, I would love to have the report to you in October. It's just logistically, I'll try to get to it. We're here on December 5th. We're usually here in mid-January, so we've gotten it a lot quicker. My notes, I can try to get it to you much quicker.
It just makes it easier for us to, most of us on this board is a numbers board, and we look pretty close at,
What?
and we listen to what you say about the financial strength of the county, but we look at those numbers pretty close.
Yes, we did, and we did email it to the board. So we did email it to the board as soon as you gave it to us. We made sure that you had an electronic copy, and then you had it printed, and as soon as we had it printed, was yesterday, or you mailed it to us and we had it delivered to you. So we do try to get it to you electronically as soon as we can.
Yep.
But we agree, there was also, I believe, a 2-week delay. They were hoping to wait for that CFA.
Yes.
I think it was the Thursday before Thanksgiving. As soon as we get that, it goes straight to y'all.
Right.
We-
But then the CFA report was the other problem.
Yeah, we did hold off for a little bit, waiting for the end of the government shutdown to see if we could get that report into this report.
Yeah, I would just say that I'll agree with the chairman in that there's an awful lot here to digest, so perhaps
Yes.
what would probably be better is if we scheduled you to come later, so we'd have a little bit more time to go through it.
So the only difficulty is technically by law, I'm supposed to deliver it to you before January, technically. And this was your December board meeting. That's-
And that's so that we can have it submitted to the,
Yeah, so it
to the
has to,
state by
Yeah.
then.
and I have to submit it to the state by December 15th.
Right.
Well, I thank you.
Once if staff's directed, we can have hard copies printed out available before that just send out an email.
I think that would be helpful.
And along that note, I forgot what I was going to say about that, is that the report itself won't change, obviously, but I think that what you're looking for is more time to discuss and get your information out. Now, if that's the case, we could certainly have him come back after this is presented formally, and you could go over it further. I would certainly, or you could certainly come see me and him in my office.
Or again, we can have a phone call conversation at any time.
Yeah. So I think that might be, because again, knowing that we've got the deadline to meet and the numbers won't change, that's not your question. I think your question is, how did we get here? What are the numbers mean? And those are real valid questions that you did a great job already explaining, but I get it that you'd want further details.
And I will say, from the timing, you all are my first board this year, so.
We want to stay that way.
Thank you.
Actually. Thank you, sir. And we were gently criticizing about getting the materials quicker,
I understand.
is all. But thank you for what you do, and
Yeah. I will say, you're not the first board that asked for it a lot quicker, so.
oh, well, okay.
It's just-
We just want to be the top of the list of whoever you're dealing with.
We are the top of the list, Mr. Chairman. If I may, I'd like to say a couple things. I talked to Paul Lee over Thanksgiving, a little bit before, and we have been very successful over the last decade, and I think it's been large part due to some of the guidance we received from Paul and Jay and others with Robinson Farber Cox. They've always been quick to return calls. I mean, many times I'll call them, and they're calling me back before I can hang up leaving the message, because I leave long messages anyway. But I want to thank you all for your help.
Thank you.
Yes, and it would be in order to approve the report. Anything else, Anne Marie, that you need on that?
No, I think we're just requesting at this time that is it just an acceptance of it's an acceptance of the audit?
Yes. A motion would be in order for that.
Also move that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further questions? And thank you for saying, and you elaborating on it, if we need a phone call to you, or we want you to come back and explain something that needs further explanation, you're available to do that
Yes,
at any
sir.
time.
No problem at all.
Wonderful. Any further questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes. Motion's approved. Thank you, Jay, for being here
Thank
today.
you all. Thank you again.
Okay. Everybody's favorite, airport updates. Yes?
Probably not, so. Chip is a much more talented photographer than I am, so. Good afternoon, board members. So the first item agenda is Dominion Power right-of-way. Bottom line is, we've got the conduits buried under there, and Dominion will not schedule the installation of electricity to the new terminal building until we give them a right-of-way to put the power lines in the conduit that's already buried. So we're asking the board to authorize Matt to, or the chairman to sign the right-of-way to allow Dominion Power to at least schedule it, because we're not going to get electricity unless we do.
Right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, your pictures look pretty good. You gonna discuss that any?
We are, if you, I think we need a motion to dispose of this piece first.
Yes, we do.
Should I go to-
So I need a motion to approve the right-of-way agreement with Dominion Power and the airport.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bill Harris. Thank you, sir. Second by Mr. Williams. Wonderful. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you.
Continue,
All
sir.
right, terminal construction. So let me preface this with saying that we had the director of the Department of Aviation and the chief engineer out last Tuesday to take a look at what's going on. And their first comment to me was, we've got an airport in the western part of the state that's much larger than Hummel Field, that started 6 months prior to you, and they're only at this stage. So, as you can see, this is the pouring of the concrete for the slab. That was probably 8 weeks ago. There's the red steel, the steel going up, red steel going up. That actually was 5 weeks ago when those pictures were taken, so. I know. So that's 8 weeks ago. Probably 3 weeks ago when Matt and company came out to take a look at the airport, we had walked around, took a look at those. You can see the red steel's up. We've got the roof is pretty much all the way up. We're still putting flashing on at the time. The brickwork around the outside is complete. The interior wall's going up. I think they should have all the interior walls up by tomorrow. If I were to sit there and do a stretch on that. That's looking from where the terminal building, where you'll see from the tie-down area, looking at the terminal building. I know the windows have been measured. They've been ordered. That's from the public side. The
gravel over there is pretty much where the parking lot's going to go. And that's the facing from the runway, facing side from the runway. Oscar likes to call that the sunroom. But the terminal the attendant will be sitting on the left-hand side in that area right up in there. And the public can have a nice view of everything else on the side over there, on the right-hand side. What's happened since all these pictures have been taken, the HVAC ducting has been put in. The air conditioning unit is on site. They're pouring the pad when the rain stops. I think they're going to come in and pour the pad to place the HVAC unit. The panels have all been put up. They're still waiting on Dominion Power or wherever come in and land the transformer for the three-phase power coming in. The access control contractor has been in. They came in Monday and they've been wiring. They said I was over there this morning. They said that they'd be done by about 1 o'clock with what they could do for right now. That's pretty much where we're sitting right now with the building. We should be well on our schedule for a February occupancy. And in February, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with the old terminal building. Now, we've gotten the grant from the state for our furniture. So they're paying 90 cents on the dollar for furniture. I think their grant was right around $38,000. The airport committee came in with a budget of $57,000, so we're going to figure out what we're going to cut on that to make the difference up. That's pretty much it. I have any questions from the board?
Questions?
Anything in general in the airport that you want to know?
Yeah. It kind of has that wow factor y'all were looking for.
Well, I mean, Oscar has shown me the pictures that he wants to put in for the finishings on the inside. He's looking at a blonde treated, a bleach oak kind of treated floor, like an engineered floor, putting carpet in the conference room. The conference room is probably almost as big as what this is over here, like what you're sitting in right there. Be a very good meeting space. We can hold classes in the conference room. We can have meetings in the conference room. I really want to encourage the public to come use that facility.
Yes, sir, question?
Richard, where are we on the taxiway? Is that I know that we had talked about, we were going to be funding part of that, and
Currently funded from the state is about a half taxiway. It goes about halfway down. It goes just past that section of hangars that Oscar had built earlier that he sold off as condo hangars. So it goes just past that, but there's a taxiway just on the south end, south side of those hangars that go in and connect up, and that'll be the end. Right now, currently it's funded.
okay, so it would reach his proposed building.
It would not reach his proposed building.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just comment, there's some other discussions going on about that, and you guys will be subject to that information at a later date.
And that's all I have.
Okay, well, I'll just say, it's been a pleasure for my working with you and Matt on several things as it pertains to the airport, and we're very lucky to have you there, and you certainly look out for the best interests of the county, and I personally appreciate that greatly.
Thank you, sir. I really try.
Thank you. Okay. Item number E. Oh, we did. Yeah, we're good with that, with the right-of-way. Mr. Chip England, County Engineer, RFP update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. In your packet there on page 88 is the board paper that gives you some background. And just to recap that briefly, came to you back in the summertime and asked you to go out for an RFP for architectural and engineering professional services. We did that. We opened RFPs on September 11th. Then we had an internal staff selection committee that reviewed those RFPs and came up with a short list. Last time-
Would you mention your committee members, please?
I will. That was the county administrator, Matt Walker, myself, the county engineer, Dave Kretz, the planning director, Sarah Murphy from administrative assistant from administration. So we reviewed the RFPs at that point, came up with a short list. We had 12 submissions for that RFP, which was really good for a county of this size to have that many interested professional firms respond. We were able to narrow that down to a top 6. Last time I came before you with an update, I let you know that we were planning to go to do interviews with that top 6, and 2 of the board members were appointed to join the committee there. So Mr. Bill Harris, Mr. Reggie Williams joined us. In late October, a couple of long mornings we spent having presentations from those firms. The committee at that point selected a top 2, and I'm bringing before you today draft contracts. They're ready for signature to award standard term contracts with 2 firms, Raymond Global Incorporated and DJG Incorporated. These contracts, or these draft term contracts, have been drafted and reviewed by the county attorney, and they're recommended by the committee for board approval. So these contracts do not, at this time, obligate the county to any spending. They do set up an opportunity for requests for proposals under these contracts to come before you for projects and assignments down the road. So that would happen at a later date. Both of these firms, Raymond Global and DJG, bring extensive expertise and technical assistance capabilities for the county in the needs of architecture, mechanical, electrical, plumbing type work, facility safety and automation, site design and capital planning and budgeting. So they become a resource to us to draw upon for future task assignments. We're bringing this before you today. I did maybe want to pause for a minute. I think we're going to try to queue up a little bit of a demonstration of capabilities from one of these firms. In their presentation, they have some proprietary software that allows for some conceptualization. And one of the potential projects, obviously, was the RCE Cafetorium project. This is one of the slides I'm showing before you here today, with just some conceptual rendition types of what could happen with that building, to give you just a fixed view. And then on the next slide, they had some automation capabilities here. So if we click on that and play, it kind of gives you an idea in a walk-around feel for perhaps how that building could be designed and improved in the future. So this is to give us some concepts. This is a demonstration of capabilities of these firms. So as we move forward, perhaps with this project, and they're trying to decide what to do, what it might look like, what it might cost, and pin that down into actual project tasking. These are some tools available through these architectural firms that we might be able to use to help understand what we might want to do with this project, and then what we can expect going forward. So we're going to bring that forward. I think the committee was pretty impressed with Raymond Global, who presented this. They have some proprietary software that allows us to conceptualize going forward there. So with that, I'll pause perhaps and see if there's any questions from the board before I ask you for some action.
I have several. One, is there a contract period in accepting these 2 firms?
They're annual term contracts, and they're renewable for 3 additional terms. So we have a choice at each year to determine if we want to continue and renew.
Great.
With these firms.
Is there any retainer involved with these firms?
There is no monetary retainer to hang on to them at this point.
I didn't see any in looking through all of that, so
No, sir.
I thought I'd ask it.
No, the only obligations for spending come when we
Decide what project
we want to
and
do.
the scope of the project.
Receive a proposal.
Yes,
and
sir.
Scoping, with them with pricing, I would bring that to you at that point and ask you for your approval.
Okay. I have one last question. It's not a deal breaker for me. I'm just trying to get as much information as I can. Under item B, 5.25 was payments, then under 5.25 was item B to subcontractors. And it said to pay subcontractors within 7 days of the contractor's receipt of payment from the county for the proportionate share of the payment received. My question is that a typical, it just looked a little short for me of payment within 7 days. And maybe you could elaborate on that. In the event, let's say it's a holiday season, or the county's off, 7 days ain't a whole lot of time to get that done.
That's right. I'm not looking at exactly what you're looking at, but if I understand that was a requirement of them to pay their subcontractors.
It was on page 11. Item B, two subcontractors. So I guess my question was, is that a reasonable time frame for everybody to meet on that? I understand why they want it at 7 days, but to me, it's probably more realistic to be, a 10 or 14-day period.
Again, these are terms that were negotiated, I guess, reviewed by the firms as well as us, and they had no objections to those short time frames of the requirement to pay their subcontract.
I'm not talking about
So that's
that.
not for me to pay. That's not
Yeah,
for the
we-
county to pay. That's for them to pay their subcontractors.
Good.
That's the new one.
I
Yep.
hope that was that.
Yes.
That's why I asked that question. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
We have the standard 30.
Yeah, right.
We have the standard 30.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir. That short time frame is not an obligation
right.
for us to pay them as the prime contractors, for them to
Gotcha.
pay their subcontractors.
My last question is, so am I hearing what I think I'm hearing, which is everybody involved in the review process, county attorney, county administrator, even go so far, okay, all were good with the recommendation to accept these two companies?
Yes, sir. We came out of the final interviews as a committee recommending to move forward with these two to recommending award contract.
That's all I needed to hear. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, I wasn't in attendance at the interviews because I was sick, but I think the county's got two very good choices here.
Okay.
Right? I was there in his place, and that's why I'm like, yeah, that was me. I was,
Any other questions for Mr. England? What else you got, Mr. England?
No, sir. We're just recommending this for action to authorize the county administrator to proceed with executing these two contracts that were included in your packet for standard term contracts with Raymond Global Incorporated and DJG Incorporated.
A motion would be in order.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse,
Second.
second by Mr. Bill Harris. Any further discussion?
I
Roll
would,
call.
I would just like to make one comment.
Sure.
That, the pictures that he showed us here and the animation and so forth and so on, once you get into something and the design work kind of starts, they're saying that they can change stuff on that animation part. Call them up, give them an hour or so, couple hours notice, and they can make some changement pretty
Yeah,
quick. I
that's
mean,
pretty-
it was
pretty good.
impressive. I'm just reading here about the gentleman that, I think he was pretty much in charge of that. He's licensed in 23 states, an electrical and general contracting license in 23 states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Hold on one sec. Hold on, Emery. I'm seizing control for something. I got a question. Yeah, I'll pause. Okay, so Bill, what you're saying is the gentleman that does the animation could have Karen Reed leading that march right there? Could we make Karen the girl in the blue there?
I think he's very capable of showing us a lot of different stuff. Quick.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say thank you too. It was a real team effort. Several professional staff and board members were involved, spent quite a bit of time in pulling this together, but it was my job to kind of coordinate that, but obviously, a lot of good effort was put in from a team to bring this before you.
Okay, we need roll call on the motion, please.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Jesse,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion's approved. I'd go remiss if I didn't also say it's kind of nice from my standpoint when you got the quality of people that we have throughout our organization, and you're on that top list as well. So thank you very much for all the work that you did, and keeping us on track with what we, and particularly the questions we don't know to ask that you can ask. So thank you very much for all your work. We're very valued to have you with Middlesex County for sure. Thank you, sir. Okay, moving right along. How am I on time, Anne Marie? Okay, planning update, Dave Kretz.
Yes, sir. I'll try to be brief. Just a quick add-on to that. I was on that committee, and that was an impressive presentation showing that, what the possibilities for that RCE building are. That looked like it would be an inexpensive conversion, relatively speaking, the way they did it. They kept most of the structure, so that was, I know, these two gentlemen were in that meeting. It was impressive. I think all of us were impressed with that, so. So anyway, quickly, what I have is a update on the Wake Boat ramp. I spoke with William Wright this morning. He was able to open it for Thanksgiving. This is rather comical because he said, I think the boat trailers were following the excavator down the hill. And he was able to open it up for the Thanksgiving holiday so they could get out and go rock fishing. But he's about 50%, 75% finished with the project, so he's not finished, but he was able to put a small Band-Aid on it, get everybody
A
out.
couple of oarsmen spoke with me yesterday, and they were very happy that the progress is being made so they could get out and start.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of happy people. They were able to go out and go fishing on Thanksgiving.
Thank you for everything you did on that project too, Dave. Really
Yeah.
do.
So I just have one request. We had a pre-dredge meeting. And when I originally brought this up, I guess back in August, I guess it was, that long ago, there was the possibility that somebody may require a post-dredge survey. Well, the Corps didn't require one, but what was revealed in the pre-dredge meeting was that VMRC wants a post-dredge survey. So I've gotten with Bay Design Group. They've given me a quote of $3,500 to do the post-dredge survey. This, to their credit, this is the same price that they did the survey for about 3 years ago when John kind of spearheaded it. So what I'm asking for is the authorization for the $3,500 to pay Bay Design for the post-dredge survey when it's finished. So that's my only ask today.
And quick question, and the post-dredge survey is needed for,
It's a verification that the job was done correctly. That
Okay.
they didn't excavate too much, too deep.
okay,
We had one performed with the Broad Creek. It's fairly standard. We were hoping we'd be able to get away with it, but evidently VMRC wants one. So it's not totally unexpected. We were hoping for better, but when it's all said and done, we've basically gotten this project done for about $7,500. So that's not bad in the dredge.
well, the time frame of how all of that transpired falls on your heavy shoulders for lifting, and you have done an absolutely fantastic job at a reasonable amount of money of what it costs to do what we did there. Now, yeah, we may look at something later on. Does Mr. Wright or whoever have a opinion of how long this dredge will last for us on that?
Well, it's hard to say. We hope to get a year out of it.
Okay.
That's what, we don't know exactly. We'll have to
Okay.
just wait and see. Depends on the storm frequency that comes in.
Right,
I mean, today I went down there and just looked the job over, and there's high tides today, and that pushes that water over that jetty, so it's, I'm not sure, I mean, obviously, it's a very popular boat ramp, so I don't think it's something the board's ready to, just throw in the trash at this point, so. we'll
no,
just-
absolutely.
This is a good, for now, it's not a bad solution.
Yeah,
If you can get a dredge
absolutely.
for this amount every year, just keep at it till we can figure it out and get a more holistic solution. Yeah, and they've, I did find the way I found out was in a roundabout way, but I also noticed on my voicemail that the DWR, one of their representative we've been talking about, did leave me a message saying that they just decided to go in a different direction. So we'll see how I still have not given up dragging them back into this, but we'll see how that goes.
Wonderful. Well,
They
again,
should be, I mean, they should be doing it, but that's their financial decision. So anyway.
well, again,
I went on the
thank
record
you for
saying
what
that.
you've done, and we certainly appreciate it. And by the way, you're in that top tier group that we can't do without, just so you know.
I appreciate that. I very much do.
Well, thank you, sir, very much.
Yes, sir.
So you'll have to repeat the amount for the motion,
3,500.
for the post dredge survey. A motion would be in order to approve that. Thank you,
So
Mr.
moved. Second?
Bill Harris, and thank you, Mr. Williams, for the second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Jesse,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion's approved. Thank you again for all your work on
Yes, sir, I
that.
appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Okay. Let me make sure I got all my lines crossed here. I think next is,
Item G.
Oh, no, let's keep it rolling.
yes,
Keep it rolling, keep it rolling.
reassessment update. Mr. Cowan,
That's correct, yes, sir.
thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. A couple of things I wanted to mention before I get started, before I forget. If there are buildings like the new airport facility that are non-taxable, but they're leased to a taxable person or entity, the lease is more than a year, we can tax them as a leasehold. So I wanted to mention that. You guys probably already knew that, but it was on my mind, so as soon as I saw that, I wanted to bring it up, so.
Repeat that again?
I appreciate your thoroughness.
Yeah, so any building that is county-owned, which is obviously county is not taxable. If they lease it to a private individual or a corporation or whoever is taxable, the lease is longer than 1 year, we have an obligation to send them a tax bill for a portion of the building that they're leasing. And that usually happens with airport hangars. If somebody's leasing just a spot in their hangar, for their private plane or whatever. So, but anyway, yeah, so I have a short update. I know you guys have a long agenda. I'll try to be quick and thorough. Go ahead. Do you have a clicker or? No?
We do.
I don't know, is this the clicker?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I do.
Okay. So again, I'm Jason Cowan. We're doing a reassessment. It'll have an effective date of January 1st. I've got two professional designations, 15 years in the appraisal industry. Purpose for the general reassessment is to ensure equitable distribution of a tax burden and, of course, comply with state reassessment laws. The four main things that assessors do is they discover property, they list property, they value property, and ultimately, with you guys setting the tax rate, they tax property. Here's a little diagram. It's important to understand this because discovery is the most expensive part of the project and the most critical part. And this is what we've kind of launched already, where we were in the field. Now I think we've been in the field about 3 weeks, 3 weeks. We've done 2 or 3 maps. The county's divided up into tax maps, little grids. We assign out 1 or 2 at a time. So we're out there going around, taking pictures, measuring, confirming buildings are still there. Sometimes we're finding that they've been torn down or caught a fire or whatever. But that's discovery. And that's actually 2-part. It's us going into the field and then also the day-to-day activities in the record room where the clerks in the commissioner's office who are looking at the deeds and the surveys and the wills get recorded every day. That's all gone into maintaining the property records for the county so that we can use it and also we can pass it forward in time to the next group of people. And then once we've collected all this information, measurements and things like that, we put it into a computer system, what's called listing it, just keeping it organized so that we can use it and then ultimately value the properties, where we'll build like a financial model based upon the information that we discovered in the field, into the record rooms. We put it into the computer and then ultimately value it, so.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So you said January, is that the target date for completing the discovery part of what we're talking about?
No, we'll probably next, like late spring, early summer, we'll have gone to all the properties. And then we'll have 2 or 3 months of just data entry. And then by next January, we hope to have the entire project completed. It has an effective date of January, not this coming January, January a year, excuse me. I misspoke. Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we won't make any potential changes to the tax rate until then.
Yeah, till the spring of 2027 is when you'll have to make a decision. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Continue.
Yeah, I think we covered this slide mostly, just discovering, listing property, valuing the property. Again, we develop a methodology where the goal is that we're hoping to approximate market value. We're supposed to get close to as many groups and as proper as we can what they actually would sell for. We do this by groups of property. We use groups of sales to value groups of property. And of course, our goal is to meet the state standards and guidelines. Sorry, I'm buzzing. I have a little bit of a market update. I pulled sales recently. Go ahead.
I'm reading things that, the housing market's not selling quite as quickly as they were.
Yes.
That kind of puts you looking at a moving target in a way. How do you address that?
Sure. So I study the trend a lot, and I actually had a diagram. It's not in this presentation, but we had like a Zoom call. And I monitor that like throughout the project, all the way through. And that's actually very important that you bring it up because our date is January 1st, 2027. That's the effective date. So even though we may finish up for all intents and purposes in the fall of 2026, we still have to keep an eye on the general trend and kind of project out to that date. So oftentimes the law says that we should have it at 100% of fair market value. But if we notice like in the fall that things are trending down, we can leave it at say 97% in anticipation of the market going down a couple percent, if that makes sense.
So the report that we are due January 1st, 2027, you can adjust it maybe up 30 days before you would present the report?
At any point before I send the notices, yes, sir, absolutely, yeah.
And we have a couple of updates back before the board before January 1, 2027. So we'll have routine updates along the way.
That's correct, yeah. So anyways, what I saw in the market, it's actually still very healthy. It's actually, you're exactly right, in this slide at the top, it says the median days on market, I compared two timeframes. The quarter immediately preceding your last reassessment and then the last 90 days. So it was back before the last reassessment, 25 days. That's what it took from the property going on the market to becoming under contract. Now it's taking about 49 days. So it is taking longer, but it's still like 60 days is usually where it starts to tip from seller's market to buyer's market. So it's right there. And it's actually, my interpretation of it is it's going back to normal. kind of the pre-pandemic levels, you know, that when the pandemic came out, for whatever reason, housing was really, really tight. As soon as the property was listed, you had multiple offers competing and all that. So we're just kind of going back to normal. But yeah, I will know, you know, far in advance if it's really starting to go down. We still are, another important metric is the price to original list price, the sales price, what they actually got versus what they asked for in the market. That's still between 97 and 100. So anything above 95 is considered good. You know, if it starts to get like below, like, you know, 92, 93, it's indicative of a buyer's market where they have more of an upper hand. But we're not there yet, so. So again, that's mostly the residential market, retail, hospitality, special use properties. They've more or less recovered from the sluggishness that they experienced during COVID. You know, retail was down, office buildings were down, and people weren't going into the office. They've kind of made most of a comeback from that. The industrial market kind of remained strong throughout that whole thing because people were still relying upon warehouses to distribute things and stuff like that. They never really experienced a downturn. And the office market is still slow, but there's not a lot of office space in this county. So it's not a huge concern. So to give you an update, and we're really comparing things from the last reassessment to kind of the last 90 days or so. We'll consider 3 different metrics: the local MLS, which is the primary data source. Secondary would be the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and that agency oversees the mortgage industry in the country, so they oversee Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So they have really good data, and they produce something called the Housing Price Index. It's like the Consumer Price Index, where they track the change of price over time, like for like milk and eggs and groceries, but they produce an index just for housing. And the third thing we'll look at is the Virginia Department of Taxation data. So here in this slide, we have the median home price and average home price in the fourth quarter of 2021. That's the quarter was immediately preceding your last reassessment. They're highlighted in yellow. The median was 364,000, while the average was 387,000. And you compare that to third quarter of 2025. It's gone up, the median up to 425 and 562. When you do that math, I guess the average increased 45, the median increased 17%. The conclusion is basically that it's still a strong, healthy residential market. And, you know, if things start to slip and go more towards the buyer's side, I'll know well in advance.
Will you explain that first slide here, the average sale price has increased by approximately 45%, while the median sale price has increased by 17%?
Yes, so that interpretation would be there are some super high value, like probably waterfront properties that go $2-3 million that kind of drag up the average. So the best metric would be the median, to compare the median, because it's less infected by like outliers.
So that's the average sale price of high-end properties then? The average sale price of high-end properties then? What are we, the 45%?
Well, no, it's just comparing the overall residential sales, including both, you know, non-high-end and high-end.
Okay, and then you come down to where the medium price homes are at 17%, not
Yeah.
including everything. Okay, got it.
That's just the increase there, so. And that shows, you'll see the value of looking at multiple data points as we go through. Again, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, they produce this information. They don't have county-specific data. They have like federal data, state level, and they do zip code groupings. So all the zip codes that begin with a certain 3-digit number, which will include, you know, Middlesex, and then also maybe some of the other parts of surrounding counties as well. But it's the most localized data that's available. Again, it's like the consumer consumer price index, but it's for houses. It first started in 1995. with a baseline of 100. And it shows that now that houses are at all-time high, never been higher, which shouldn't surprise us. We looked at, there's 2 zip code groups in Middlesex, ones that begin with 230 and also 231. So, and here's the summary data from the Federal Housing Finance Agency that shows that in the fourth quarter of 2021, again, right before the last reassessment, the index was at 272. It's now at 362. So you've seen a continual increase ever since that time. And if you were to roll back this index, it would have been increasing since around 2012 or so. It did go down actually 2008, 9, and 11, and then since it's come back up. And then this is again for the other part of the county that begins in 231. It had a similar increase from 260 to 347. So in this case, it was a 33% increase. So we're seeing the MLS data showing between 17 and 45. We're seeing this federal data around 30% increase. And then the next thing we'll look at is the state ratio study. And what they do is the State Department of Taxation, they do an annual sort of report where they compare the sales and the current assessments, and they do that little ratio where they divide the current assessment and the current sale price. We do it for every county every year. And the most recently published one that I was able to get my hands on was from 2024. So again, this is a little bit older. And as we saw on the last slide, the market's still gone up. So they were saying that the county overall is about 73%, where it should be around 100. So that means a 27% increase would be needed. So again, we're seeing between 17 and 45, around 33, and this is 27. But again, it's a little older information.
And this slide you just showed is Middlesex,
Just Middlesex, that's correct.
correct? Okay, continue.
And Jason, real quick before you move on, property class code 4,
Okay,
I think I know, but which one is that?
that is commercial property.
Okay. We're that far off on that particular, but commercial's a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah, it's, this one shows 50%, but it's only one observation. So-
Right, yeah, so it's kind of, it could be an extreme. All right.
So again, just kind of recapping what we said, around 30% is reasonable. 30 to 35% would be a reasonable kind of expectation of growth in the tax base. So again, summary, 30% overall, 8% a year. And this is kind of the next little part of what I'm going to say is important. Actual assessment increases will vary a lot from this 30% kind of overall, because they're targeted by class of property, whether it's residential or commercial, zoning, whether it's waterfront, non-waterfront, the age of the house, the size of the house, the condition of the house, all those things will make a difference. So some may actually decrease if there's been a fire or some other issue. Some that have been completely renovated, they may go up, 100% or more. But the point of it is that we'll look at it and we'll group things the way that they should be grouped according to the standards. So I did my own internal study where I went through the local MLS. I found about 1,200 sales. My conclusion was that we were about 64% assessment level, which kind of lines up with what the state showed and what we were talking about before. So it would be about a 35% increase if we were to go all the way to 100%. And again, that was sales all within the Middlesex, all from the local MLS system. that the realtors use.
And that comparison, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're currently in year 2025. By 2027, there could be a significant amount of ups and downs during that particular time frame, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Yes, sir, yeah. So we'll do, this was what I'm reporting, basically is what's called a going-in ratio study. Kind of, this is how I found the county when I first started the project. And throughout the project, I'll do at least 3, maybe 4 more studies, where I'll do guiding studies, where this is where I've adjusted things to the current market. And then I'll do another one where I'm really tightening in on the model, and then I'll do 2 or 3 right before the notices go out. So this will be, like I said, one of many that I'll do. So we'll consider the sales by different groups or categories. And the overall purpose and the virtue in doing it is to make sure that any way that you slice it, nobody's getting a raw deal. So any way that makes sense for us to slice and dice the analysis, all of the assessment levels, when you compare it on like the result, as far as like its value as compared to sales, they shouldn't vary by more than 5% when we're finished. So in other words, the people down in Urbana versus Deltaville versus up in Jamaica, no one's like assessed at 90% and then 100%. Does that make sense? We want every way that you would think about it, we want it to all equal very close to the overall level of the county. That's our goal. I did, like, again, I ran the numbers myself. I pulled the information from the local MLS. I grouped the sales by decade. So this is like groups of homes. In this table here is homes that were built in like 1910, 1920, 1930, and so on. And as you go up and down the scale, there was no systematic bias. They were all assessed pretty similar to the overall. Again, the overall down there in the grand total was 64%. And so, for example, the houses that were built in the 1980s, there was 152 of them, and they were assessed at only at 63%, right? So there's no bias. That's the good news. When I looked at this, I didn't see any bias anywhere in the county, which is good. So when I finish the project, the goal is there won't be any bias either. So this is just showing the sales by the age of home. And again, it'd be inappropriate if, say, the super old houses were assessed at 80% and the new ones were at 100%. Somebody would be getting a raw deal.
Yeah, so just real quick, so the top line there, it says 190, that should be 1900. And then 1910, 1920,
Yeah,
1930.
I skipped a 0. Yes,
Okay.
you're correct.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right.
In Excel, there's a function where you can take off the last number. And I did that because I didn't want there to be, if I did every single year, there wouldn't be enough sales in each year to make a meaningful result. So I had to group them all into a decade. But good catch. So each house in the county is given like a score on a quality rating. It's kind of like a report card. When you're in school, A is like pretty high, way above average, B is a little above average, C is average, D and E are below average, and M is like mansion. So each one is given a quality rating. It's based upon a bunch of different factors like whether there's windows on the side of the house. Believe it or not, sometimes there's not windows on the side. It's only the front and the back. How deep the house is, if the roof line is cut up. Mostly if the house is just keeping the outside out and the inside in, then it's on the lower end of the scale. But if there's some architectural design features that are kind of built in for aesthetics, it's on the upper end of the scale. But each house is given a rating. And again, here, the existing data, it all lined up perfectly, pretty much. There were, the only outliers were ones where there were low sale counts. So all the A houses, they were at 68%, the Bs were at 66%, but it was pretty close to the overall level. This is kind of the first metric we'll look at for location. All the zip codes in the county, they are all very close to the overall. So no problems with the distribution of the assessment level across the county. Nobody down in one zip code was getting a raw deal. Again, waterfront, non-waterfront's the next variable we'll look at. They were pretty much within 1% of each other. So that was good news. I was a little bit surprised by this. Usually 1 or 2 is skewed a little bit different. But I was happy when I saw this. So then we grouped the houses by size. And again, the whole virtue of this is to make sure that the small houses are not over or under assessed when it comes to comparing it to the big houses. And again, there was a little bit of a skew here for houses that were really, really small at 58, which is that's 7 points off, and it should be 5. But everything else was all within a couple of percentage points, up and down the scale, which is good. So a little bit of a summary, reassessments are required to be done by state law every 4 to 6 years. The last little reassessment took place with an effective date of 1/1/2022. I think it's reasonable for us to expect somewhere between 25 and 35% increase overall in the county's, tax base. We will continue to monitor the sales throughout the project, and of course, we're going to do further analysis.
Questions from Mr. Cole?
I would like to say it's been very well done and explained to us. I never had it explained like that before. And also would like to say, I saw that piece where you got the cheese and slice. And what I would like to say, if there's some cheese somewhere around, you know there's a mouse somewhere around.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
That's all I have to say.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we were passing notes here. This is exactly what we heard about Mr. Cohen and his firm. He really breaks down the presentation. It's facts and it's math. We try to remove the emotion from it, and we bring the statistics and the facts in, and that's really what you want. You want an assessment based on facts, because when Heather's got to go to court and defend it, we want facts, not emotions, right, to back our case up with. So we were told that during the RFP process. Mr. Cowan comes in and does a very good presentation and breaks things down so the board understands it and the public understands it. I'm very excited to see the results when it comes in and his next update. So just wanted to say that, so thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to say also before I go, I got my application in to be one of those guys that are the top tier. I know it's something that I have to earn, but I got my application in for it.
I do have one thing I'd like to say to you. Thank you again for what you're doing, and I've heard nothing but good. And the people that I ask those questions, believe me, they tell me what they think is not good, and I've not heard anything that's not good. So thank you for that. I would like you, and I don't want to answer tonight, but I'd like you to think about it, and with the county administrator and with Ms. Diggs as well, is to what the impact would be to our county if we went to something other than a 5-year reassessment. I'd be curious to know your opinion of the size of this county. Is that something that would be fruitful for us to look at? And I guess I asked that question more than anything else is, since it's a 5-year period, and 6 would be more than that, you get a lot of people, complaining about my taxes. I don't need my taxes to go up. And we're sensitive to that, certainly. But it'd be curious to know if that could be reduced, that tension from a 5-year period of time, which basically people have been paying taxes for 4 years with no ability for the county to raise the tax because we're on a 5-year plan. Is that something based on the size of this county that would be more digestible on a less time frame? And I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want you to tell me what you really think.
Yes, sir.
What's good, what's bad, what we may consider. That's something we wouldn't even entertain until sometime after 27. Sure. When it's due. So does that make sense, the question I'm asking you?
Yes, sir, it does, and I don't need any time. I can give you the information now. The general, in the 70s, I believe, the early 70s was the first time that a county chose to do a reassessment more frequently.
Yes,
And it was in Albemarle, and they went to the court system to see if it was legit, because they didn't send people to the field. Remember when I said that slide, the most expensive part of the whole process is people going around measuring and taking pictures and stuff. Well, they didn't do that in Albemarle. They just did what was kind of like a desk review, an administrative review.
yes,
Where they adjusted the values without going to the field. And obviously, the point of that is that you can do exactly without much expense, right?
right.
So that's perfectly legal. It's done routinely. One of the counties that I'm actually discussing with doing this now is Fluvanna County.
Yep.
Similar, they're south of Charlottesville, similar profile as far as like population and parcel count and stuff like that. And I'm going to be, if I'm successful, and if I'm entirely successful, I will have a contract with them at 1/3 of the cost per parcel of
Okay.
what I'm charging you.
Right.
So the answer to your question is, you have to like, it is a small investment, which is like a little bit over $100,000. But it would make sense just from the sense of like, you don't see this wild swing.
Correct.
It'll be, every two, if you choose to do it every 2 years is what I would recommend. It would be somewhere 7-8% every 2 years, something like that. And then counties that do this, they never have to push the envelope. So you can look at the counties who do this frequently and their results, because they're audited every year by the state. So it's pretty public information. And I'm not saying anything inappropriate, but you can look at the results and they're always in the low 90s. They're like, 90, 92%. They never have to go all the way to 100% because they know they're going to do it in a couple years anyway, right? Versus pushing the envelope because it's going to be 5 or 6 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they never have to, step on the gas. They can kind of ease their way to where they need to be. So, yeah, so in summary, it can be very cost effective. I would advise it. That's what the textbooks say. Do it more frequently because it's less of a burden for people, just a big surprise shock or whatever,
Yeah, well, everybody seems to forget that their taxes have been maintained at the same rate.
Yep.
Now if you have a big up and down swing of values going up and values going down, I can understand that you might want to rethink that, but it's somewhat of a hard sell for the county standpoint of, well, you haven't paid any increased taxes in 5 years. Now you're paying the bill that's due.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we would want to explore all those options and what might make sense. Might not be a yearly desk view, but it might be something different as a 2-year or 3-year period to consider and look at that as well.
I think 2 years is the sweet spot because one of the counties that I'm servicing is called Prince George, and they're borderline urban. They're kind of on the edge of Petersburg and
Yeah.
so they have a good portion of, they're about half rural and half suburban. So they actually chose to go from annual to every 2 years.
Okay.
Whereas the last 15 years, they've been on annual. And they thought, well, okay, this is too much. So I think 2 years is the most that makes sense because there's a law that says that once every 6 years, we have to go boots on the ground. So you can get on a
Right.
schedule. You can have like a little plan, okay,
Got you.
where this year we did boots on
Gotcha.
the ground, then we can go 2-year desk review, 2-year desk review, and then the following year, the boots on the ground.
I got a question here. Did earlier you said something that you look for a 25 to 35% increase?
Somewhere in there, yes, sir.
And I know during the interview, you said something also about that if you do similar to what you talk about now, you're kind of doing a reassessment in a different way than waiting 5 years. I forgot, you remember what he said?
Yeah, desk
A
review.
desk review.
That's correct.
Now, my thing is this. I'm not looking at the percentages. I'm looking at dollars and cents. If somebody look at the tax bill, it's $1,000 or whether it's $1,100 or whatever it is. It's a reason that taxes increase and decrease. I mean, we understand the value now. You're supposed to be getting it right. if our tax assessment be right, then how come we just don't do the percentages? And the second thing, you don't have to answer that because I know we gotta look at it, but, and that because, like I audited here today, you know, and asking the revenue coming in, and it's not a mystery world. If the fire for us is gonna have to increase or decrease taxes, and it's not a joke, because I think most people only look at the bill.
Right.
So we get a percentage now, 61%, and we're paying $1,000 or $610. So we get the other bill at a, 30% increase is gonna be $780. Then you get on a fixed income. So, so what I'm saying is probably a little different. I know we gotta have assessments and stuff like that, but I feel that we are driven by bills. Then we do our assessment regardless of how accurate it is. We either gonna raise it or we're gonna decrease it based on bills. And I'm kinda like looking for this assessment to get out because I like some of the things that you were saying. And to get it right, it's gonna be interesting to me when, we say right, when I think I mentioned it to you, that I say we see people now paying values that are out of sight. I mean, you look up the Sentinel, that's our local paper, we look at it and wonder where they're buying it, where they're buying this piece of property from. Now, we're gonna look at it by all these values that we're gonna put in, and we're gonna make it right within a 25 to a 30% increase. That part get very interesting. When you do harm the village, I like to, harm the village, I like to know how it's moving. I'll just be honest, when you get to harm the village, and you also say it about, I think something I wrote down here, but a tax area? What did it mean by tax area?
Tax area?
Yeah, I think I wrote something down here, but
A tax map, maybe?
a tax map, that's what it was.
Okay.
And you said we had 3 different tax maps.
Oh, yeah, at the very beginning, so the county, if you were to look at the whole county on a map, for just simply locational purposes, in times past, somebody laid out a grid, and they broke it up into different grids. So it'd be like tax map 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6. So all that means, it doesn't, the values and the taxes are not done that way. It's not like if you're in tax map 3, you pay more or less. That's just how we assign our work. So I say, okay, Megan, I want you to go do tax map 1. And then, my son Ashton, you go do map 7 or whatever. So that's all it
That
is.
don't mean-
It's just
okay.
for locational purposes. That's all. it
That's
is.
pretty good, but the first person did them tax map, and I want you, it'd be pretty interesting on why they did them like that,
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, honesty is something that don't come by too often no more.
No, it doesn't.
I have one thing, and I'll let you go, and you may not know the answer to it, but the people that you are dealing with that have a 2-year assessment, do they also have a 2-year budget?
No.
Not necessarily.
It's all annual. Some of them are on the fiscal year. But no, I don't think anybody that I'm aware of adopts a 2-year budget.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here and your insights.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody good? Okay. Item 5, regular agenda items, Resolution R 2025-012, acceptance of surplus property. Heather, are you discussing that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Matt or Anne Marie are always welcome to jump in as well if they have anything to add. So as the board will recall, it has had discussions with the school board about the property behind the RCE building down at Cook's Corner, and the school board's not using the property, and they actually surplused it about a year ago, but we needed to do resolutions and a couple other things, the paperwork, I like to say. So that's been prepared, and the school board has properly adopted a resolution naming the property as surplus and conveying it to the board, which is pursuant to code. So that's what's before you today, is a resolution and the deed for you to accept this property, this surplus property from the school board. The code requires you to authorize me to accept it. And so that's why it's written the way it is. You have a copy of the school board's resolution. You also have a copy of the deed that I prepared. And I will sign it, presuming that the majority board authorizes me to do so. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
So all you need is approval for Resolution R25-012, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what I'm looking for.
All right.
So move.
So moved by Mr. Jesse. Thank you, sir.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further discussion? Wonderful. Roll call. Is that you, Anne Marie?
It is. Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden.
Yes.
Mr. Jesse.
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes. Our Resolution R2025-012 has been approved.
All right, thank you very much. So I will execute that, get the deed recorded, and you guys will be the owner of that surplus property.
Okay, is that all you have, Ms. Lewis?
That is for that item, yes, sir.
Okay, item B, budget supplement request. And I guess, Anne Marie, you're going to talk about that? We can get you some additional training. Go ahead.
The purpose of this particular appropriation is at the last board meeting. At the last board meeting, November board meeting, you approved, we had a long discussion where David Lehman presented for 45 radios, which was all approved, go ahead and do it. They had a very short time frame upon which to make action because they were on sale, year-end sale. So we all went ahead and approved it. However, we didn't do the paperwork as Heather just indicated for another thing, how important the paperwork is.
Correct.
At this time, I'm just asking that you approve the paperwork, which is this budget supplement request form.
Budget subsequent request FY 2026-005, which was the handheld cameras that we've already approved. So a motion would be in order to get our paperwork in order. Mr. Jesse?
Also move.
So moved by Mr. Jesse. Thank you, sir.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bill Harris. Not seeing where there's necessary for any further discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris, thank you.
Yes, motion is approved. Okay, moving right along.
The next,
We've already done the order that was
wait,
moved.
yep, I've got one more budget adjustment.
Surplus items,
Nope, I got one more budget adjustment.
okay.
So on page 273 of your documents, as you know, every year we receive 4 for Life funds that get distributed to the Volunteer Rescue Squad. The funds come from a $4 charge on vehicle registrations, and from there, it's distributed in part to the state and part to the county. We are required to share it with a volunteer rescue squad on training or necessary supplies. My history went back, and I could find it going on since at least 2000. So you've been approving this, you, the board, have been approving this for 20-some-odd years. And at this time, all I'm asking is that we appropriate the $14,096.16 for Life funds to the Volunteer Rescue Squad. The last grant was used for iPads, pediatric bags, and medical equipment. And I think that's all I had on that.
Motion, please.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Crittenden, thank you, sir.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bill Harris, thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes, motion is approved. Okay, what else you got, Ms.
Just one more, I think.
Riccardi?
2026-006. Okay. The next item that I have, correct, we are now up to, as you know, we have been trying to clean out the Quonset hut area, the building adjacent to the Social Services Department. When we went through there last time, we brought forth to you a bunch of junk tables and some filing cabinets. And I told you we would come back with more. What our staff does is when they have a moment, they go through the building and they take pictures and they say, can we get rid of this? They go to the sheriff's office, they go to our coworkers, and they go to Dwayne, our facilities, our building and facilities assistant manager. So these are the items that we found this time that would go ahead that we're asking to be surplused. There were 5 filing cabinets, 1 over-desk hutch, 1 electric moped scooter, 1 small bicycle, and 1 tire. You can see this is, I'm trying to show you the pictures. You can see by the pictures on the screen, it's a lot of junk. If we don't get sales on these filing cabinets, we can certainly take them over to the metal recycling. Those are easy. And the other stuff, if we don't get bids on them, like the tire, we won't even bother. But the rest of them, if we'll
Well,
put
I
them.
think we ought to keep that tire. We may need that.
See, that's why we've had it for 4 years.
And we're talking about item 5E, surplus items.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you have on that?
Nope, at this time, I just request that you declare them surplus and authorize staff to dispose of them.
I'd be curious, before we make the motion, how did we have a motorcycle in the whole deal? I mean,
Interestingly, from what I was,
Me, it says electric, what's it got a gas tank on it? Run out of power. Maybe that's where the battery is.
what I found from this was that at one time, do you remember there used to be like a water storage tank at the Puller Center? So in that back room, these were just stuffed in the back room. So when we developed the Puller Center, they got pulled out of there and stuffed over here. So we really don't have a history, but that puts it back. They were back in that room that had the water tank when I got here 5 years ago.
So
it's
we're
just
not
been
quite
sitting
sure
around.
where it came from.
That is
Other than
correct.
it was in some sort of storage somewhere. Okay. All right, wonderful. So a motion would be in order for Ms. Anne Marie to surplus the items and dispose of them as she sees fit.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bill Harris. Thank you, sir.
Second it.
Second by Mr. Wayne Jessup. Seeing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Jesse,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.
Yes, motion is approved. Okay, I think, Anne Marie, we got you on
Oh, you too. Yes,
hook
sir.
for item F, citizens' appointments.
Actually, I have none.
What?
We have none at this time for your approval. We do have 2 upcoming term expirations, and we sent out a reappointment letter to both Mr. McKinn and Ms. Holmes.
Okay,
So, no, I don't have any more action for you.
okay, so we can move along,
That's it.
correct?
On to the next. Let's see where we are.
Administrative update, cigarette taxes on page 277. And if there's no questions, I'm going to move to staff reports. Their reports only, that's in your booklet. Item C, adopt the 27 budget calendar. Matt Walker, you want to?
Yep. Mr. Chairman, we got you a draft budget calendar back in October, if my memory serves.
Was there any changes to that?
No, we went ahead and removed all the Friday meetings and shifted over to a Thursday meeting setup. This budget calendar basically maintains the expedited nature that we've adopted the last couple budget years and adjusted it to meet the board's desires. And it is kind of the culmination of a lot of amendments during last budget process where we kind of fine-tune it to meet the members' needs. If the board is inclined, I would recommend we approve the draft budget calendar as submitted. It aligns with the schools very well. Not to beat a horse too much, our meeting with the schools are on the same time where we meet with them, I think it's February the 10th. It is February the 10th, to get their budget request, and it just gets us right in line with what I hope to be a fairly smooth, expedited process for us. Real quickly, though, I was able to attend, as usual, Jim Regenbald's presentation at the VACO conference this year. It was very informative, as always is. He's got his facts and data. It's curious because I don't think there's any concern that there's going to be quite a bit of budgetary trouble from the state. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. They're going to be probably arguing how to spend their surpluses that they're going to receive. And I don't know if experience has told me anything. You can see people argue about how to cut spending, but oh boy, wait till they get to spend it and see the arguments that arise out of that. So I'm going to be very cautious with expecting anything from the state, even though this is kind of a lame duck session, so to speak, and we got a new governor coming in. They're going to be arguing over how to spend surpluses. And having said that, looking at ourselves, we are, in this calendar, on pace to be able to be largely complete with a budget by the end of March, which was a goal of ours. And I'd recommend approval. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
And just as a comment, the approval of this budget, we work from it as a working document, but if something comes up for the school system, for us, for whoever, that we need to amend that budget, we can do that.
Yeah, the meetings that largely just involve the board and us as administrative staff, they're easily amendable. We just need to let the media know and post it accordingly to meet the FOIA requirements, whatnot. It's the meetings that involve others that are harder to adjust, especially the school board. One of the biggest meetings that's very hard to adjust is the January 8th meeting, because we have so many other entities to involve and try to make sure they're present. And one of the things I would ask the board to look over one last time is that January 8th meeting, to make sure that we've got everyone listed that y'all want to hear from, because we are working on a few projects, and we have partnerships with these projects and these entities. So I think we've done a pretty good job of capturing all of them. And that is going to be the next meeting right around the corner, because it's not too far away. 1 month and so many days.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
We have listed Tuesday, April 1st as a regular board meeting.
Is that a misprint?
I think it should be April 7th. I think the 1st is on Wednesday.
Is that moved for any holiday, for any purpose, Emery?
Oh, but if you
Or is
look,
that a
it says,
typo?
it looks like a typo, Matt. It says, because April 1st is Tuesday, April 2nd would not be Thursday. I'm pulling up a calendar.
That could be a typo.
April 7th.
April 7th. All right, with that change, anything
Good
else that
catch.
jumps out to anybody?
Thanks, Randy.
We're still gonna be there, April the 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your deliberation period. That's got a 1 week separation from the public hearing on the 26th.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay.
So that 7th meeting would fall after the second meeting, after April 2nd. Not before, but after.
I believe the way the calendar, Matt,
I'm pulling it up.
I was going to say, can we,
I'm trying to grab it. Okay, we've got,
so, and it goes Thursday, March 26th,
yep.
April 7th, 2026, correct?
No, it goes April 2nd, 2026.
There's two meetings. There's a meeting on April 2nd, and there's a meeting, we changed
the
from that
pub-
was listed April 1 to April 7.
Good. This meeting here at April 1, just disregard that, your regular meeting schedule.
Thank you, okay.
That is on April hold on.
April the 7th,
Yes.
I lost it, hold on.
right there.
Yeah, that's April 7th.
Okay,
But your adoption meeting, the deliberation and adoption is April 2nd. That's 1 week away from your public hearing on the 26th.
Yes, yes.
Unless there's a compelling
Yeah,
reason.
so the typo is April 1st, that should be April 7th. We can fix that. And that has no effect on the budget process.
That's what I would.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, so a motion would be in order to
Hold over
confirm
from last year.
the budget calendar
with the changes
with the changes, instead of April 1,
to April 7th for the regular board meeting.
Correct.
So moving.
So moved by Mr. Jesse, thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Crittenden, thank you. Seeing no other comments, discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams? Oh. Mr. Bill Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes?
Mr. Don Harris?
Yes? And are we waiting on Mr. Williams, or can we just? Okay, okay. Motion's approved for the budget calendar.
And administration, will staff be sending out calendar invites for
Yep.
those, please? Okay.
Yep.
And those calendar invites will be longer than 10 minutes. They'll be actual hours, please, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 7, county attorney update, anything?
No,
Ms.
sir,
Lewis?
not outside of my staff report, no, sir.
Okay, unfinished and new business, item 8, unfinished business. Anybody? Okay, new business. Okay, I'm moving right along. Item 9, matters presented by the board. I'll start with our senior member, and if you have something.
All right, yeah, I did turn the 95th conference of VACO there. And, yeah, I did attend, one of the seminars that I did attend was Economic Development Benefits of Future Energy, you know, with data centers and all like that. Chesterfield right now is working on a fusion, which is nuclear. And, you know, but it takes time with all the regulations and things to do like that. It takes about 5 to 7 years to get it going. But they're going to be the first, and Chesterfield will be one of the first in the East Coast. They're going to be having a fusion, which is, and I asked them about that, it's nuclear, but the nuclear part of it is just like if you get enough of that guy, MRI, they say, and it's like modulars. But meantime, they were saying that really you're going to have to use either natural gas with generators, you know, natural gas generators if you need to keep up with the supply demand of the electricity that's going to be needed in the future. So that was one of the pretty interesting that I attended that. And I attended the PDC. There we had some Dominion Power was there talking about the energy storage, which more and more counties are going to that because they take up less acreage. And because you naturally, you know, they talked of one that we're going to have here in Middlesex, but there's also other ones in the area that they're going to the demand of energy storage because the solar panels and stuff like that, they only, during the daytime, they can store it in the energy batteries. So, you know, at nighttime, they can use them and generate back and forth. So that was pretty interesting on there. And also, River County Community Foundation, I did attend that. Also, they did discuss something about the workforce housing, because once they appropriate the funding, they will make sure that that project get finished. So that's, you know, that's still up and ends on that. And let's see, yeah, that's about all that I attended for the month.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Jesse. Mr. Crittenden?
Well, I like most of us, we went to the VACO conference, and I think that it was very, very worthwhile. Got a lot of good ideas, a lot of good information, made some contacts that I think will be very helpful, some of the projects that we may be wanting to go forward with. Also, I attended the jail authority meeting this month, and they did not have a quorum for, I think, the second time in a row, but it was they did provide some interesting information about some of the capital projects they're going to be working on.
Thank you, Mr. Crittenden. Mr. Bill Harris?
I did as well attend the VACO conference, and yes, I agree with, you know, I found it very enlightening or whatever, and I think it's definitely worthwhile to people to get to talk to and the ideas that come about and everything, so that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Williams?
Did the same thing over and over again. Went to the conference and, you know, the most people I was interested in was the architect. So I found me the architect that built, you said Washington Lee High School, but it's Montrose High School. And I did have a talk with him, and we sat down and talked a little while. And I did ask him how much it cost for you to build that school. And I'm gonna say it like that. About $40 million cheaper than what Mosley said that we could do it up there on the ground up there. Yeah, you heard me right. So, now you got me all in a spin, because that's what I went there for. And also went there to a conference on the school board and the supervisors, how you get along and how you, you do things to push and give and find out the information. And I come find out that some of them said, it ain't about the community or where you at. It's always but a shuffle of power. I want to have my way. When you supervise is one way. You think about the tax base and stuff like this. So when you look at it, and that's what I look at. But it was very interesting when I saw my architect up there. That's very interesting. So in January, if everybody listening, you know exactly what I'm going to say.
All right.
I warned them you were coming.
Hey.
He got a school on a piece of ground for us already.
Okay, I have nothing to comment on. So with that, I'm going to move along to item number 10, public comments. I'm going to open the floor for any public comments. Great, okay. I'm going to close public comment. And Ms. Lewis, help us with the motion for closed session, please.
Yes, sir. So the board, it would be appropriate for you to make a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. This is so the board can discuss personnel matters specifically regarding the county administrator position, and so that we can, pursuant to Code Sections 2.2-3711A3 and A8. This is so the board can discuss acquiring real property for a public purpose and about the disposition of county-owned property, where discussions in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position of the public body, and so that you may consult with me regarding specific legal matters, procedures, and questions about the acquiring and disposition of those properties. Now, with that said, Mr. Chairman, we will be meeting in this room. I do not know if we will take action after the closed session, but we have a public hearing so that anyone wishes to attend. When we come out of closed session before that 7 p.m., if there is action, it'll be taken then.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Jesse, thank you, sir. And
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Crittenden. No further discussion is needed with that. Roll call to move into closed session, please.
Mr. Bill Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Crittenden,
Yes.
Mr. Jesse,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Don Harris.